August inevitably brings a return to campus. What your kids can expect when they set foot on universities next on Campus Roundup. Hey, I'm Dr. Duke, and this is the Campus Roundup at the College Fix. Our top story segment this week focuses on the politically correct things that kids can expect at their freshman orientations when they get to campus. To talk more about this, we welcome William Nardi, a journalist at the College Fix and a student at the University of Massachusetts at Boston, right?
That's right.
William, talk about you've been through some college orientations yourself. Talk a little bit about what you experienced when you became a freshman for the first time.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm on my third college because college is just not for conservatives these days. But my first college was Roger Williams University, and I remember it was thinking it's, in the grand scheme of things, more of a moderate college, Roger Williams, First Amendment guy. But we were there, and it started off with some general kind of, you're going to meet people from other cultures kind of stuff, be respectful of everybody, things you would expect your entire life. And then they brought on this one guy, Jackson Katz, and I'm sure you've heard of him before. He's a gender-based violence speaker who does tours on college campuses. And I was surprised. We actually booed him off of the stage because the way that he was talking about men was so belittling, just saying, like, the entirety, these broad stereotypes, saying they were all violent people and that we hurt women. It was crazy. And then we booed him off the stage. It was crazy.
How did the administrators react to you guys booing off their chosen speaker?
Well, let me tell you, this group of administrators always likes to hang out with what's popular in the crowd. So I talked to the head of the political science department then, who said, "Oh, I'm surprised. Jackson Katz is usually such a great speaker, and all the kids usually love him." Well, we didn't love him this year because we actually had a brain.
Well, basically, he was accusing you all of being rapists, right?
Well, basically, yeah, for the most part, it's pretty true. And, I get what he was saying. I get that he was trying to tell people, don't do that whole frat boy thing. And, you see such terrible things in the news these days. But you cannot go in front of a group of young people like that and say, before we've even gotten into college, that we're going to be this horrible type of person. It was just too much.
The progressive left on college campuses has really bought the argument that you're guilty until you're proven innocent, right? You said you had another anecdote, though, other experience at your orientation.
So now I'm here at UMass Boston, right? And, I didn't experience this. I heard this secondhand from a friend because I wasn't a freshman, but this girl that I know, a Christian woman, wanted to be in the honors college. She was an immigrant, a legal immigrant from Greece, and her family came over, and her name is Stephanie. And she was telling me she was involved in this first-year honors program thing where you're a student ambassador, you welcome in other students, and she had to go through these trainings about how to be sensitive to other groups of people, right? So some of these trainings were so graphic about like trans stuff and just, homosexual stuff that she had to walk out of the room because she was saying the way that the people giving these lectures were using such perverse language as if they were languishing. They loved the fact that they were giving these presentations and just like disseminating this kind of information that she couldn't take it. She thought it was ridiculous, and she's complained to people before. But really, it's some of the stuff that you'll see at these more far-left colleges is just out of this world.
To me, it's like Scared Straight for college kids. You remember the old Scared Straight shows on HBO where the language was really graphic? They wanted to give you a taste of just how real and gritty prison was. It's shocking to me how college professors are using that same language with freshmen as a way of trying to incorporate this idea of we're more radically accepting about sexuality, so we're going to be as vulgar as we possibly can.
Yeah, it's really just crazy. And I mean, at the College Fix, just some of the stories that I've been doing lately, somehow I've managed to become like an expert on ecosexual feminism and all that kind of stuff because these are the stories that keep coming up these days. But this is what they're trying to push on the kids. And I'm saying, like, man, there's nothing normal about college these days. It's a social experiment. It's designed to completely change everything that your parents have taught you, anything you might have learned in church from when you were younger, and in the most brutal and explicit way possible.
Will, before I let you go, what advice would you have for an incoming freshman, male or female, about what they're going to experience and how they can weather it?
you need to recognize the fact that you're going into a war zone, and I don't take that word lightly. You're going into a college that is literally a government-funded institution designed to create lasting social change throughout the country, designed to institute a communist government, not social democrats. I don't care what euphemism you want to use. You need to understand that your values, your ideas, your faith is going to be under attack, and nothing you learn in the classroom is going to build that up. So you need to take your education into your own hands.
We got to get you your own talk show, Will. I'd certainly watch it. To read more stories like this, visit thecollegefix.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Time now for Talking Campus, our weekly discussion with members of the College Fix editorial team. Today I'm joined by College Fix editor Jennifer Cabani for a conversation about the first week of college for most of our kids. Jen, you've put together a really nice article at The Fix about 5 major things that our kids are going to encounter when they step foot on college campuses. Lay it out for us.
Yeah, essentially. So in high school, they didn't get a lot of identity politics, which is looking at a curriculum through the lenses of race, gender, sexuality, class. So now it's like, welcome to college, kids, and here's how we're going to teach these subjects to you now. They're going to be taught that masculinity is toxic. They're going to be taught that using a person's pronoun of choice is mandatory, and if you don't, it's a hate crime. They'll be told that claiming to be colorblind is racist. They're going to be given a lecture on how to have safe sex, and when I say safe sex, I mean how to make sure their sex isn't rape. It's a whole new ballgame with these affirmative consent rules. And of course, they're going to be telling the kids, be careful what you say. You better not hurt anybody's feelings, because we're all about inclusivity and acceptance and tolerance. So, never mind the First Amendment. Just be nice and use kind words.
It's amazing to me. I remember my own college orientation. I remember orientations 20 years ago when I just started as a professor, and they used to be all about what you can do. This is how we're going to open your world. You're going to have all these new vistas. These opportunities are going to be presented to you. Now it's like a long laundry list of things that you do, and we're going to throw you out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially the one about affirmative consent. Now with all of these Title IX rules that schools are grappling with, they essentially have reset the default position to no. The woman is saying no. And so unless she speaks up and says yes, or you can touch me there, or this or that, it's considered rape or sexual assault. Even if the girl doesn't say yes, even if she's silent through the whole thing. So the young man would have no clue she's not having a good time. She's going along with it, this and that. But if she doesn't say yes verbally and continually throughout the process, it can later be construed as sexual assault. It's a real landmine for these young men to try to get across.
And we've seen, under this misguided title, and Donald Trump actually rescinded the Title IX letter that allowed schools to persecute kids as if they were guilty without really fair trials, boys in particular. But despite the fact that Donald Trump has removed the letter, schools are absolutely continuing to prosecute this, so much so that we have cases where sometimes a month or 3 months or 6 months after what seemed to be a consensual act, a girl will have changed her mind and filed a complaint, and those kids are treated as if they just raped somebody the day before. So it is a very serious issue we have dealing with here, and it's one of those things that, because we're starting from a premise that consent has to be verbally and vocally expressed at almost every second of a sexual encounter, it really makes for some dangerous living.
Absolutely. And that's where the toxic masculinity plays in, because they're essentially trying to feminize men and demasculinize them. And it's under the idea that it'll bring equality to men and women, bring men down, have them be like the pajama boy. Remember the pajama boy when he was sipping his coffee and he was all cute? No, don't be aggressive. Don't be, chivalrous. Just let the women open their own door. I'm not about that, but hey, this is what it's all about is trying to equal men and women. But the problem is it denies science. I think this is science denying when you try to say that men and women are completely the same in all regards. No, they are different, and they do have different biology and different attributes. But when they walk on campus, basically they're going to be told, hey, masculinity is toxic, and maybe you're a girl today and you're a boy tomorrow, and gender is fluid, and right is left and up is down, and welcome to college.
I'm glad you mentioned Pajama Boy with his cup of cocoa. I wonder if a pair of pajamas with a back flap, right, little buttons and a back flap, I wonder if that's a microaggression on campus these days.
Everything is, yeah.
But over and beyond sex has always been kind of a difficult issue. Are these kids old enough? What goes on? To what degree is what happens sexually in a dorm room the university's responsibility? Those are always been kind of complicated questions. But more alarming is a number of the top 5 things that these kids are going to face that you wrote about are speech-related incidents. How did we get to the point where the university feels that they have a constitutional right to silence, if not alter, the way kids speak?
Yeah, so at the University of Minnesota, they're right now actively considering a policy that a professor or a student could get suspended, expelled, or fired if they refuse to use a person's preferred gender pronoun, meaning if a biological male thinks he's a female, you better call her a she or else you're in trouble. They're considering requiring that, and if you don't go along with it, you could be expelled. So First Schmirched Amendment, they don't care about that. It's all about these politically correct rules that trump constitutional rights on college campuses, and it's out of control. So not only with the gender pronoun rules, but even, they banned words like crazy or lame, illegal alien, even though that's, a court-defined term, but you can't use that on most college campuses or else you're reported to the bias response team. So free speech is under attack on college campuses. And so right when they get on campus, freshman orientation, they're probably going to be told about inclusivity and acceptance and tolerance, and just veiled threats about make sure you be careful what you say because you don't want to be accused of bias or racism.
Inclusivity, acceptance, tolerance. But the very first things they're going to hear once those buzzwords are thrown out, we will not tolerate this. By using these words, you're not being inclusive. It's funny, isn't it, that the way they define words. The thing here that is interesting to me, and I've been around colleges for 25 years, is the degree to which the ethos of the university, again, has moved away from allowing kids to explore and basically labeling that kind of intellectual exploration as dangerous. What advice would you give? I'm just curious. You're a mom and you're a journalist, a seasoned journalist. You've seen these stories. If you had a kid going to campus for the first time this fall, what would be the 1 or 2 pieces of advice you'd give them?
Well, the advice has got to start in elementary school. I have a daughter who's in 5th grade right now, and every single year I have been showing her the other side, talking to her about, conservative principles, constitutional principles, even at a very young age. Because if you wait until right before they get to college, that is too late. And they will easily be convinced of these social progressive policies. So start when they're young and teach them your side of the argument. Arm them with facts and data and reason and logic so that when they finally get to campus, they're ready and prepared and have an answer and a response.
I love your response there, Jen. Let the school be the school and let parents be parents. Do our job parenting them in elementary, middle, and high school. They'll have a much better chance to have a really fulfilling college experience. Be sure to stay up on all the latest news and information from the College Fix editors by joining us on all of our social media platforms. Jennifer Kabani, thank you again so much for your time. Well, teaching college for 25 years, you're bound to learn a few things. And one of the things I've learned is about campus orientations. 25 years ago, an orientation, take the word orient and look at it in context. To orient somebody to something is to help them make their way, right? To teach them north from south, east from west, to show kids how to navigate their way to the infirmary when they're sick, or the tutoring office when they need extra help. To orient is to allow kids to acclimate themselves and decide when they want to go someplace, how to get there. Over the last 15 years, 10 to 15 years, to orient has become to indoctrinate. And when you indoctrinate somebody, what you're doing is you are deciding in advance which path they will walk. You are removing all other options to funnel kids down a certain kind of path, a certain way of thinking. That's what's happened over 25 years. It's not good for you, it's not good for me, and it's really not good for first-year freshmen. And that's the Final Fix. I'm Dr. Duke, and we will see you next time.